Good evening. This is the August 27, 2025 special session meeting of the Newcastle Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight, we are only dealing with one application. The application of the Whipple Club. And before we go any farther, anybody on the board have any comments about the application? No. Okay, does Sabrina want to put any input in for us, or?
She's writing.
Sabrina, are you?
Hi everyone, good evening.
Hi. Hi, Mike.
I have no comments. I have prepared for you the parts 2 and 3 and an environmental determination regarding the environmental impacts of the proposed project. Because of the amount of land disturbance that it will be occurring, it bumped this up to an unlisted action, where really the work is related to a type 2 action, but to be conservative. We classified it as an unlisted action, and I prepared the documentation for your signature, Mr. Chairman.
Got it right now.
And it's just a matter of course, you should make the environmental determination of no significant environmental impact before you consider a decision on the application.
Okay. Mike, anything that you need to appraise us of before we get too deeply into this?
You're on mute.
Sorry, I was unmuted. I apologize. No, other than the secret status and the draft resolution, which I guess we'll get to. I have nothing else. I reviewed the file and everything else looks fine.
Okay, good. Can we hear from the applicant if they have any last minute comments or?
Sure.
If they want
First of
to-
all, thank you for considering this application on a month that you typically don't meet. So the special meeting is very much appreciated. Thank you to this board and thank you to staff too for assisting us along on this application too. I got a folder here with the permits that we're gonna start filing right away too, because we are on a time clock. So we really appreciate the extra effort that this board in particular has put in, so, and staff as well.
It is our pleasure to help you.
Okay, thank you.
Board, any comments?
No.
Okay, we have before us a resolution for approval for the applicant. It should be noted that as lead agency, we have determined that there will be no significant environmental detrimental environmental effects if this application is approved. They have filled out their full environmental assessment form due to the fact of the square footage that's being disturbed. And we have found that there will be no adverse effects to this to the approval of this application. I'm going to first thing I'm going to do is, if nobody has any comments, is I'm gonna move to close the public hearing.
I second the motion.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg. Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. And I will read the therefore be it resolved part. I'm not going to read all of the whereases as they are in the record, and I don't think it's necessary to read the whole thing. So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the application of the Whipple Club for the following reasons. The Whipple Club will continue to serve a community need or convenience as a private club. The Whipple Club has been a community landmark since organizing in 1946. The proposed improvements will provide additional amenities for use by members, many of which are residents of the town of Newcastle. No change to the activities, membership, or use of property have been proposed as part of the application. Proposed improvements shall comply with the code of the town of Newcastle and meet the health and safety requirements set by the Westchester County Department of Health. The location and size and use and nature of the intensity of the operations conducted in connection with it, the size of the site in relation to it, and the location of the site with respect to streets giving access to it are such that they will be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the district in which it is located. The proposed action will not increase the intensity of operations on the property. Whippoorwill Club is to maintain the existing membership as per their club bylaws. No membership changes will occur as a direct result of this application. The location, nature, and height of the buildings, walls, fences, and the nature and extent of existing or proposed plantings on the site are such that the use will not hinder or discourage the appropriate development and use of adjacent land and buildings. The proposed action will require very little exterior changes to the building or site in general. None of the proposed modifications are visible to adjacent property owners. It will be renovated and landscaped in such a way as to enhance and improve conditions in the area. Operations in connection with the Whippoorwill Club will not be more objectionable to nearby properties by reason of noise, fumes, vibrations, or other characteristics that would be the operations of every permitted use not requiring a special permit. The Whippoorwill Club operations and use will not change as a result of the subject application. Parking areas are of adequate size for the use of the Whippoorwill Club members. Parking will not change from what currently exists. The application will not change the number of members or the required number of parking spaces. Currently, parking areas are suitably screened from adjoining residential uses, and the entrance and exit drives are laid out so as to achieve maximum and adequate safety. There are no changes proposed to the circulation or parking areas. Be it further resolved with respect to the specific special permit standards for private clubs and in accordance with section 60-430-04 of the zoning code, the ZBA finds and determines as follows. Location and use. Under 60-430-04A of the zoning code, where private clubs do not front on or have direct access to a major or collector road as determined by the planning board and shown on the town development plan map, the intensity of use shall be limited by the Board of Appeals to the extent necessary to assure that the expected average traffic generated of such use will not exceed that which would be expected if the premises were developed for permitted residential purposes. Whippoorwill Road is a collector road. With that said, the existing uses on Whippoorwill Club property will not change as a result of the subject application, and therefore this application meets the location and use standard. Buffer area, number 2. A landscape buffer area meeting at least the minimum requirements of section 6420 D2 of the Newcastle Town Code, which is 10 feet, is required along all lot lines adjoining properties in residential districts. The club will remain private and the open space provided by the golf course will not change. The existing minimum 10-foot buffer is to remain, and the proposed changes do not impact the buffer area or require any changes to landscape buffered areas. Number 3, special setback requirements. All active recreation facilities shall be located out of doors and shall be set back from the adjacent residential property boundaries at least twice the minimum distance required for residential buildings in the district in which they are located. The Whippoorwill Club is located in a 2AC single-family residential area requiring a 75-foot setback. All facilities that are impacted by the proposed application are set back at least 150 feet from the adjacent residential properties or do not change the current existing setbacks. Therefore, the setback requirements are satisfied. Be it further resolved, the application made to the ZBA by the applicant for the approval of an amendment to a special use permit for 4 front yard setback variances to replace the existing outdoor swimming pool and wading pool, construct new pool equipment enclosure, and legalize a portion of the pool patio constructed without obtaining a building permit, the proposed action. Pursuant to section 6430-04 of the Newcastle Town Code, on property located in an R2A zoning district on the east side of Whippoorwill Road, said property being known as 150 Whippoorwill Road, Armonk, New York, and designated on the tax maps of the town of Newcastle as section 101.18, block 4, lot 1, and be the same as are hereby granted for the reasons set forth above, subject to the following terms and conditions. Work shall begin within 6 months and be completed within a year. The applicant shall submit an application for a tree removal permit and provide a tree replacement plan to the satisfaction of the town environmental coordinator, Dennis Corelli. Proper screening and testing of excavated soil must occur, and any contaminated soil encountered during excavation should be appropriately managed and legally disposed of off-site. All unresolved comments on site plan drawings and supplemental reports shall be resolved to the town engineer's satisfaction. The applicant shall maintain the grounds, including grass and shrubbery, in a neat, clean, and orderly condition. The exterior of the dwelling shall be maintained in a good state of repair. Any changes to the exterior of the dwelling shall be subject to the approval of the board. The ZBA shall retain continuing jurisdiction over the amended special use permit. The continued operations of the Whippoorwill Club pursuant to this special use permit is conditioned upon continued compliance with all other local ordinances and state laws and regulations. General conditions, the approval is granted by the zoning board in accordance with and subject to those facts shown on the plan submitted, and if applicable, as amended at or prior to the hearing, as herein received or set forth. Any approval of variances by the zoning board is limited to the specific variance requested and only to the extent such approval is granted herein and subject to those conditions, if any, open which shall approval was conditioned with or herein set forth. Okay. The board gives no approval of any building plans, including, without limitation, the accuracy and structural integrity thereof of the applicant, but same have been submitted to the board solely for information and verification purposes relative to any variance being requested. A building permit, as well as any other necessary permits, must be obtained within a reasonable period of time following the filing of this decision, and prior to undertaking any construction contemplated in the decision. To the extent any variance granted herein is subject to any conditions, the building department shall not be obligated to issue any necessary permits where any such condition imposed should, in the sole judgment of the building department, be first complied with as contemplated hereunder. Occupancy will not be made until and unless a certification of occupancy is issued by the building department of the town of Newcastle, which legally permits such occupancy. Be it further resolved, except as otherwise expressly amended herein, all other terms, provisions, and conditions of the ZBA's prior resolutions of approval for the Whippoorwill Club are incorporated herein by reference and shall remain in full force and effect.
I second the motion.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
It's not in here. Building department. There's a question about needing a final survey, but that's part of the building department's.
That will be under the purview of the building
Yeah,
department.
okay, so we don't need to put that in. Very good. Everybody approved?
Approved.
Okay, you have your
Thank you so much.
variance.
Thank you,
Good
everyone.
luck.
Appreciate that.
Get to work.
Yeah, applications are already ready.
Good night,
so-
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
And
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks
Good
again to
night.
staff too.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Good night.
One other order of business before we leave is the approval of the minutes of the, which meeting was it?
July.
July 30th.
July 30th meeting. Make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I second the motion.
Chairman Giordina.
Aye.
Mike Nolan.
Aye.
Ron Genzeg.
Aye.
Warren Gottlieb.
Aye.
Kathleen Darazan.
Aye.
You need to.
We're out. Okay.
Adjournment's in order. I move we adjourn.